I wanted to make this video to like piggyback on the video I made about procrastination. I think at the end of that video, I talked about using a list for your goals and stuff. It made me 1,000 times more productive. This is the list that I'm talking about. I learned this technique from a guy named Brian Tracy. This shit has literally changed my life. I'm not making that up. So it allows me to stay accomplished because I'm able to write these things down on a list. I date it. Sometimes I put a time beside it or whatever, but whatever I do, I then cross off the list. When you scratch things off of the list, it gives you this sense like a dopamine hit. So then eventually you become addicted to accomplishing things. And that's a good place to be. And you feel really good about yourself when you consistently accomplish your task instead of procrastinating on them, and then dealing with the circumstance or the consequences of not having done the task that you should have done. You have to understand that if you are procrastinating, you have to ask yourself, do you think that you deserve the thing on the other side of procrastination? Because if you don't internally, you won't be able to get yourself to overcome that stuff. That's the beauty of the list. You write down the accomplishments, you get to see it at the end of the day. You see all those things checked off and you feel good about yourself, and that makes you feel like the person that does deserve those things. When you stay in that constant state of procrastination, it's only guilt and shame. That's all. It's immobilizing. The other benefit of it is if you do a bunch of tasks without like writing it down and bringing it out of the infinite into the finite, if you don't do that, at the end of the day, you will still feel exhausted from your task without the same sense of accomplishment because you won't be able to see it. I run my OnlyFans, I run my Loyal Fans, I run this Instagram, I run the Stroke Genius Instagram. I set up the appointments and the bookings for the volunteers. I do the traveling, buying the hotels. I do all that stuff. I wouldn't be able to do that without this. This simple list has changed my life. When I first wanted to look into all the people who were talking about success, the people who had made it, the millionaires, the decamillionaires, and people asked them, well, what was the one thing that like changed it all for you? They would always say two things. One, they read Think and Grow Rich. And the other thing was they started writing down their goals. So as a person who can be a C student, maybe even a B student, sometimes an A student without even studying, I'm speaking to y'all people because y'all are the ones that think you're too good to write down your goals, because that's how I was for years of my life. And like I said, this helped my income go up dramatically. This helped me become more productive in every aspect of my life. And since we're moving into the next year now, I'm about to do my list for the next year, the things that I want to accomplish. And then I'm going to write a story about each idea, because you need a story that goes with it. You need a why that goes with the idea. So you could just have the idea, but why? Like there's a lot of people that say, I want to make this amount of money a year, but why? What is the reason? Because without an actual reason, you really probably won't accomplish it. It's in the infinite. It doesn't have any borders, no edges, no beginning, no end. There's nothing to pin down to this is what I want to do. This is why I want to do it. This is when I want to have it accomplished. And that's how the human body works, or the human mind works. So if you're not doing that, then you're really bullshitting yourself. What I do is when I have an idea like that, a goal, I write down a story. I want to do this because, and I want to do this because I think it's going to accomplish this in my life. And if I have this, then I'll be able to do this. I break it all the way down and how it's going to make me feel and all that. I write it into a story. And then taking that story kind of shows me how I want to accomplish the goal, right? It makes it into something real, something tangible. It's like how you could tell somebody to be a good person, or you could teach them like one of those fairy tales that has a moral at the end of the story, right? So that they go through an actual mental, virtual experience with emotional ups and downs and all that stuff. Then they get the message at the end for real. You have to write your story instead of just writing the goals down necessarily. And then I break it down into months. I think, well, how long is this task going to take, right? What are the steps that I have to take to accomplish this task? And that shows me, this is the beginning, this is where it should end. And then I can say, I think each segment, or I think the first segment might take a week. The second segment, that'll be quick. That'll only take a day, something like that. And then I break it down and I say, okay, well, I can accomplish that within the first quarter, sometime in the first quarter. And then I plot the task like that. It doesn't always work out that way when I go to do it, but I at least have something to aim towards. It's like an anchor in a sense that keeps me in that area instead of floating away and getting carried away over here and forgetting all about that task. I write those things down and then I just look at them every day. I look at them and look at them and look at them and I think about them and I imagine what my life is going to be when I accomplish them. I imagine what my life is going to be when I'm doing them, when I'm talking to friends and family about them, things like that. That's what I do. Then by January, I have created enough energy to go and do the task because I'm excited about the outcome. I'm antsy about it, as opposed to setting my New Year's resolutions and being like, oh my God, this workout is going to be, oh my God, this new diet is going to be, oh my God. It's instead of doing that, I pre-prime the pump in that sense. I get the energy on the inside first, and then I manifest it physically. And that way works way better than trying to use willpower. Willpower lasts about 3 months, which is why New Year's resolutions typically fail by March. People go to the gym and that membership tapers off by March, April, because willpower only lasts for about 90 days. So you have to change your internal system instead of relying on willpower. Like, willpower is like paddling against the wind. Like, you're moving, but as soon as you stop paddling, you're gonna go right back this way. That's what willpower is. You want to go in and change the internal system so that even when you take your hands off, I guess that's like what's that thing called? Autopilot. Yeah. So you want it to be on autopilot. That's literally what people say. I can't believe I didn't remember that. You want it to be on autopilot. So when you go in and program it internally, it's autopilot, and then when you take your hands off, it continues to work for you. And that is when you have made your ego your friend instead of your enemy. This video is supposed to be like 1 minute and 30 seconds. I don't know what I was thinking. Thank y'all for watching. For those who saw this all the way up until this point and find value in it, I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Any questions, leave them in the comments. All right.